Welcome to the Dealing with Goliath podcast. The mission is to sharpen the psychological edge in business leaders with skin in the game who want to be more effective under pressure, uncover hidden value, and increase profitability. We deliver an espresso shot of insight to boost business performance using our 5 questions in 9 minutes format. Our guest today is Alastair McDermott from marketingforconsultants.com. Alastair helps independent consultants to generate more leads consistently so they can eliminate their dependence on referrals and get out of the feast-to-famine cycle. He does this by helping them create and execute a simple, effective marketing strategy that works for their business and client base. On another note, Alastair is a very old friend and he's pretty much my go-to guy for anything techie, but also when I need a sanity check on my decision-making, just to make sure my thinking is sound and I'm not about to make a mess of something or do something very stupid. So in conclusion, he has been absolutely invaluable to me over the years. So Alastair, welcome. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Yeah. So as I said, it's just a short, intense little interview. I'm just getting the clock ready here. As you probably know, 9 minutes. So we'll kick off. And I'll just ask you, who is your ideal client and what's the biggest challenge they face?
Okay, so my ideal client is an independent consultant or maybe a very small consulting firm of 2 or 3 people. They don't have any kind of marketing plan. They've been doing most of their business through word of mouth and referrals and networking. And it is a little bit inconsistent. And maybe they feel like they're starting to tap out their network and they need to find a way of generating more consistent leads for the business.
Okay, and so that does sound like quite a common challenge. You know, that a lot of consultants work their network a lot. If you ask them, an awful lot will say, "Oh, it's through word of mouth that I get my clients." Right. So what are some of those common mistakes people make when trying to solve that problem?
Okay. Well, I think the first thing that people do is what your friend Tom calls random acts of marketing, which is a phrase I love. And basically they're kind of throwing mud at the wall and just seeing what sticks in terms of, maybe they're putting posts up on LinkedIn or they're trying Facebook Live or, they're just trying random things without any kind of strategy behind it.
Right.
So some of those things will actually work. It's just that, if you have a strategy behind it and you kind of take the time to make a plan and learn a bit about, the different types of marketing that work in this situation, then I think you can make something that is more effective and can actually bring in so many leads that you can actually start to increase your prices, which is kind of the Holy Grail for people.
Right. Okay. So as you said, they're doing random things. They're trying this, trying that, but they don't really know what's working, and maybe they don't know why. As you said, they could be running paid ads. They could be trying all sorts of article writing, all sorts of things. But yeah, they need, the random acts of marketing. It's a great phrase. It's usually, and you mix it up with, as I said, with that feast to famine situation as well, where it's getting things regularly in the pipeline that really is part of that Holy Grail, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think particularly for when you're an independent consultant, you're working on your own. So you're working on a project and so you're not thinking about marketing until that project comes to the end. And then at that point, you've got an empty pipeline. So it's very hard to kind of interrupt yourself in the middle of working on a project and saying, actually, I need to start doing some marketing now for when this comes to an end, Exactly.
It's that having things on the horizon all the time. That is so difficult because, as you said, people, if they're whatever, I mean, you're talking specifically about consultants, but whatever area of an entrepreneur or self-employed person, they want to be doing the work that they're best at. Yeah. So it's a difficult thing. So what might be one valuable free action that the audience can implement that will help them with that issue? What sort of free thing could they do not to solve it necessarily, but to at least move them in the right direction?
Well, okay, so one thing that I have available for free, if you go to marketingforconsultants.com, you can sign up for a free email mini course, which is about marketing strategy and specifically what will work for consultants and any kind of B2B professional service. It's not really for consumer stuff. It's not really for products. But if you're a professional service of some kind, particularly consultants, you should find that useful. So that's completely free to sign up.
Okay, great. And I mean, I've read through a lot of the content there, and there's a lot of valuable insights. You have quite a few unique points of view that have been backed up by a lot of research. I believe you did quite a body of research, particularly through LinkedIn.
Yeah, so
last year?
I got this from one of my mentors and business coaches, Philip Morgan, who kind of urged me to do some research, and it's been hugely valuable. At this point, I'm just coming up to 1,000 in terms of number of return surveys. So I used LinkedIn to survey my ideal target audience and to get feedback on them from them. Now, it wasn't 1,000 surveys on one topic. I think there's at this point there's 11 different surveys. Okay. So so I have a number of responses on different topics, but all from the same type of people, and it's given me huge insight into the market. It's given me huge insight into what their issues are. It's taught me an awful lot about what I'm selling and how it relates to my audience. And it's also created a huge amount of data and information that I'll be able to repurpose and turn into something like a book, things like that,
Okay, very good. And that, as I said, was the background for that short mini course that you created so that it fits the needs of, as you said, consultants who are trying to market and trying to fill that pipeline. So it's a very, very well honed little course. Excellent stuff. What might be one question I should have asked you, or that often when you do interviews that they don't tend to ask you, that you always wish that they would?
Okay, so this is your tricky question.
Yeah.
I guess because my background is kind of in web design, you will hear people say, I don't need a website, or why should I have a website? And actually, I do think that in very limited situations, you don't actually need a website. Like right. if you have a business where you are getting 100% of your business from word of mouth, and you have very long projects, you might not need a website at all. If you've got a project that spans 3 or 4 years, which some right. people do, you might not need a website at all. You might just need a LinkedIn profile and good word of mouth. If you've got shorter projects that are ending more frequently and starting more frequently, then you probably do need a website as a kind of a central point for your marketing and kind of to help position yourself. But yeah, there are some situations. So I guess that's the question, is like, do I really need a website? And the answer is not always,
Right. But generally it's a pretty good idea.
I think for, probably 95% of consultants and professional services, just to have a website, it kind of meets the minimum bar of, looking professional. Right. So, and this is something that I found in my research, that there's typically 2 types of website for consultants, and again, for any kind of professional service. And one is a passive kind of brand website. And that website it's the equivalent of a brochure online. Right. Its purpose is to make you look professional. So if somebody does a background check on you after getting a recommendation, that, okay, they look genuine, they look real, let's go with them. The other type,
it's the bare minimum kind of thing, but
it's the bare minimum, and there's things that you need to have. It needs to load fast, it needs to look professional, has to have a good design. It needs to speak directly to your target audience. Just in terms of positioning. It needs to work well on mobile. There's a minimum bar of things that you need to have. There's a checklist, right. And if you sign up for my email list, you'll eventually get that in your email. Will one of my emails has that. But that's the first type of kind of it's a more passive website. The second type is a more active website, which actively generates leads for your business.
Right.
And that website needs to be more interactive. It needs to have a lot more content. It needs to build your authority. It usually has elements like content. It usually has email sign up, and it's a more proactive type of website. Okay. And its job is to partly educate your customer and position your authority.
Okay, and that's obviously the secret to starting to at least getting ready to fill that pipeline, is have something where you can position yourself in a very positive way to your ideal client, give something of value, and then, as you said, when they're ready and it's a good fit, that they can potentially reach out to you. You're fairly top of mind, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, we are just coming up perfectly on the 9 minutes. So well done. Okay. And thank you very much for being on the show today, Alastair. Excellent
Pleasure
stuff.
to be here. Thank you.
Oh, there's the alarm going. So as I said, thank you for being on the show. And we hope to have you back in the coming weeks for a longer interview to really delve into some of your unique points of view and a lot of the data that you have behind it as well. They're not just opinions. They're validated by science of sorts.
yeah, absolutely.
So look forward to that.
Super.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, cheers, man. All the best.